I graduated from high school in the spring of 1963. It's a long time ago, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes! And I entered college on a basketball scholarship in the fall of 1963 at a major university, and pretty much a lot of my dreams in life were coming through. And yet, by my third year in college, I realized that I had to make some big decisions about life. And I must confess that most of them didn't look very good. Of course, in those ensuing years, even though it was only a couple of years, a lot of things had happened in our culture and in our society. Those of us who lived through the 60s know that it was a great time of great turmoil and change in our country, where the core values of who we were as a people and as a nation were all challenged. And young people, because of the political pressure of the Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement and a whole assortment of other things, were questioning everything, questioning all values, questioning all foundations to why our parents and our culture and our society believed certain things and applied certain things. And obviously that influenced me as a young man. And so by the time I began my junior year in college, I had a lot of questions about what I believed and what I thought was good and what I thought was valuable. And I must confess that most of what I examined and most of what I looked at didn't seem very hopeful. I looked down the pathway of my life, I looked upon the years of my life, and I wasn't really going with anybody yet, but I hoped that there would be a woman out there who could put up with me and marry me, and we would have children, and I would find an occupation and put in my, 30, 35 years, raise my kids, maybe have grandkids, retire, enjoy the golden years, and then die. And I must confess that at the time it didn't seem really exciting. It didn't seem very exciting at all. And I questioned whether or not life really had any meaning and purpose at all, ultimately. There were a lot of people, a lot of voices in that time saying it really didn't. There were other voices saying if we can only change society, if we can only change the way we do things, if we can only change our perspective of government, if we can only change our perspective of economics. There were a lot of people pressuring and pushing and saying everything would be better, but inside, for a lot of us, there was just an emptiness. And like most of us, I think, I look to perhaps finding answers in the things that life offered if you were better off. I come from a very comfortable middle-class family. I don't mean to give the wrong impression. I didn't have very much of a hard time growing up. But there were limitations. And like many of us, I thought, if only I had more of everything, perhaps that's all there is to life. Maybe just filling it up with a lot of stuff and pleasure. But the problem with that was I didn't have the real drive and ambition to go out and earn it. I wanted to inherit it somehow. They didn't have lotteries back in those days, and the Mega Millions wasn't available, so I couldn't go out and spend $2 and hope for the best. So I was kind of in a quandary.